Yeah, so our project was called Creating a Digital Twin to Predict Ecosystem Responses to Climate Change. So essentially what we did is that we created a virtual representation of an ecosystem, which we could then carry out experiments on, specifically looking at how the ecosystem responded to climate change. So we were assessing things like whether we saw an increase or a decrease in the number of species, whether we saw a shift towards more small or large species, and whether we maybe gained or lost more rare or common species. Climate change is, of course, impacting the environment around us, which is then changing the ecosystems. Now, what this also means is that it's affecting the services that those ecosystems actually provide for us. So things like carbon sequestration and pollination services. Despite how kind of important this is, we really have a very little understanding of how ecosystems change as climate changes. And so studies like this are kind of a really good first step towards understanding that. Our digital ecosystem basically predicts that ecosystems will change quite markedly with temperature rises. Specifically, we are seeing a kind of loss of species, and generally the species that we're losing are larger species and also rarer species. So we expect that as temperature increases, we're going to kind of see less species overall, and the ones that we do see are going to be smaller and kind of more of those common species. So there were two kind of unique parts to this funding. Firstly, that they were willing to fund a kind of high risk, high reward project, and this meant that we were bringing together some really complex stuff from maths, and then some equally complex things from uh, ecology as well. And we had no idea whether this was going to work, but if it did, and as it had, it can kind of really give us some good insights into ecosystems. The second part of the funding, which was kind of different, is how short it was. And this meant we really had to be focused on answering one single question and work together to kind of overcome challenges.